Okay, hi everyone. Um, okay, thanks everyone for just joining us. Just to recap. I'm Nancy.
And I'm Samantha.
Yeah, we're from Bath Spa University in the UK. So welcome here today. We're here just to talk about our university, talk about studying in the UK, and the options for you after high school. So let's begin. Right. Feel free to ask any questions as we're going through as well. We'll pick up on those. So this is our presentation outline. Why study in England? I guess you must have interest if you've come to the presentation. Why choose the city of Bath? There may be some of you that have gone to Bath before. It is a very popular tourist city in the UK, one of the most beautiful places. Why study at Bath University? We'll talk about our university, programmes of studies, our schools, how the courses are divided, the entry requirements, fees and scholarships, which is always the most popular question, how to apply, and then where to find further information. Okay, let's go. So first of all, why study in England? Studying in England is different from the US, and it's worth pointing out some of these differences. Both of us, we have globally recognised degrees. So wherever you decide to go and look at your career, you know that you've got a degree that is recognised all over the world. UK graduates are very highly valued, and I've just put some starting salaries really. These are the latest figures from one of the graduate research agencies. The average starting salary for a UK graduate is between £18,000 and £24,000, which in dollar terms is between $28,000 and $38,000. If after you go on what's called a graduate scheme, where you sign up with usually like a large scale employer, your salary could be higher as well, and the average graduate salary on those schemes is actually $29,000 or $45,000. So graduating always pays off in the end. The other thing, we were talking today about some famous UK graduates as well. Lots of people have studied in the UK, not just British people as well. Heads of state, we were thinking Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, Bill Clinton from your own country. Scientists, Tim Berners-Lee, who invented the internet. Business gurus, Richard Branson's always a famous guy. And arts, media and culture, lots of actors that we talked about today, wasn't there? Can't remember any of them.
Orlando Bloom, Johnny Depp. I'm sure you know a few of those.
Yeah, so all of those guys and girls are UK graduates. So moving on, a really interesting thing to think about is when you're looking to study. I know in the US you use the word college quite a lot, and even College Week Live, where we are today. We tend to use the word university, and university is what's called a protected term. No institution is able to call themselves a university unless they've gone through really, really strict process with our government. We don't really have a private university sector here. Everything is under strict guidelines from the government, so that you know that all universities are chartered, they've all had strict academic processes, and quality is guaranteed as well. There's two government agencies that's always worth knowing about. One's called the QAA, the Quality Assurance Agency, and they particularly look at teaching and processes within universities to make sure that we're doing everything right. The other thing is research that is monitored through something called the Research Assessment Exercise, although I believe that's going to change its name next year. And that measures the output of research from universities. So more likely when you're looking for graduate education, you'll be concerned about the RAE score. Undergraduate degrees in the US are actually 3 years, in the UK are 3 years, which is different from the US as well. So you can save time and money as well. And the other thing is the structure of degrees are very different as well. You will develop not just academically, but very much along independent and critical thinking, self-discipline, research and analysis skills, time, project management, and oral and written communication. So from a degree, you will get a lot out of it. Okay, so that's a little bit about the system. What about Bath? I wonder if any of you out there have been to Bath. Samantha, are you from Bath originally?
I am indeed.
Bath, born and bred here, this young lady. So basically, the city is located in the southwest of England, and you can see there from the map, the red dot. We're surrounded by countryside and not far from the coastlines as well. 90 minutes one way, you'll get into London, our wonderful capital city, and 90 minutes the other way, you'll come to some of the most beautiful beaches. So our location is quite a special one, really. How was it growing up here?
It was lovely. I just want to point out as well that Bath is the only World Heritage City in the UK as well. Got lots of Roman artefacts in the city. It was developed settled by the Romans in the Roman times, and then developed on then through history, through the Georgian period as well. And I think we'll go on to the next slide to see some of the pictures of our beautiful city.
There we go.
So as I said, it's famous for its historical and architectural sites. What you can see here is a picture of the Roman baths. You can no longer bathe in these baths, but they're now a museum. And in the background, you can see Bath Abbey as well. And then on the right-hand side, we've got the Weir, with one of the most famous bridges in the world. I think it's only one of two bridges in the world to have shops along it. I think the other one is in Venice. So quite unique for a small city.
Fantastic. And I believe, Samantha, the Roman baths, you've had one of the international students' events is held there.
Every year we have our mayor in the city holds an event at the Roman baths for all of our international students at our university, and everybody's invited to go on a torch-lit tour around the Roman baths, which is a lovely evening. Especially when it's night time, and all the torches are lit as well. Fantastic. Very beautiful.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's the old style. What about this? What are we looking at now?
So we've got here the old, as you saw previously, the old Roman baths, and then in 2000 the city was awarded some money from the government to build a new baths, which is now called the Thermae Bath Spa, which you can bathe in. And the waters, it's believed that the waters have natural healing powers. So the Romans used to visit their baths and be healed of all sorts of skin problems, and now with these new baths you will still get the same minerals from the water, and it is believed that they are healing waters.
Fantastic. Okay, so a healthy place, a healthy place to live as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think this slide shows what Bath is very, very famous for, and the most English of English cities. I believe it grew up as a place for the rich and famous, so I always kind of say like Las Vegas of the olden times in a way, really.
When people, all the aristocrats in London, they would come to Bath for the weekend, and it was a very prestigious place to be, and they would all come to London for the weekend, and Bath became known as Little London. You can see in the top left a picture of the pump rooms, which is where all the aristocrats used to meet, and dine very lavishly with champagne. In fact, you can still have champagne,
wow.
a champagne reception there today, so they do try and keep some of the traditions.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And what's this over this side?
This is Sally Lunn's bakery. Sally Lunn was a French maid who came to Bath many years ago and set up a bakery in Bath, and she developed what's called the Sally Lunn bun. So it's still going strong today. You can go into her house, which is one of the oldest buildings in Bath, still standing, and you can have as many buns as you like.
Wonderful, wonderful. And moving on, Bath is really a place of arts and culture as well, which Absolutely. Kind of like fits in with our university as well.
Yeah. You can see on the bottom left-hand side, this is a picture taken from the Jane Austen Festival. I don't know whether any of you have heard of Jane Austen. She's written books, for example, Pride and Prejudice, Persuasion, Emma, I can't think,
November
Sense and
Avenue,
Sensibility, lots and lots of
yeah.
different books, which have since been made into Hollywood films as well. And Jane Austen used to live in Bath, and every year we celebrate her life with a world-renowned Jane Austen Festival, and actually the next one is on Saturday.
Oh.
So people from all over the world come and visit Bath, and they dress up in the full costume as well, and the big bushy skirts and dresses, and they parade
Wonderful.
through Bath, and it's quite a spectacular sight. So
Wonderful.
we're looking forward to that on Saturday.
Yeah, good photo opportunities there. Okay, and the other thing to note is that Bath really is a city of knowledge as well. There's two universities in the city. Our University Bath Spa being the liberal arts side, which means it's very, very friendly, very welcoming. Lots of people from all over the world enjoying living, studying, and a very safe place to live as well, I think. Perhaps one of the safest places.
Yeah, we've been voted the safest city in the UK to live, for the last 3 years running. So every year for the last 3 years we've been voted the safest city in the UK.
So that's always worth telling your parents that, because I know that they'd want to hear that. Okay, so just some lovely stuff, some serious stuff about the university. Bath Spa University, we offer a liberal arts education, and we really focus on creativity, culture and enterprise. This is really what we're known for. We're not heavily science engineering, we're creativity, culture and enterprise. We do undergraduate and graduate programs, subject areas arts, humanities, education, music and performing arts, social science and enterprise. We have a very teaching-led approach, and we have a very low student-to-teacher ratio. So you will be in class sizes will be smaller than if you were at other universities. We're very, very driven by providing the best student experience and career progression for our students as well, which means that you will see different and innovative learning and teaching methods as well. And then on the other side, many of our academics are contributing to world-class research as well within their subject areas. And I think the most wonderful thing about the university is that we do have possibly the most beautiful campuses in England. And I'm not really, this is completely true and everyone tells us this. So, for example, Newton Park. Do you want to talk about Newton Park?
You can see in the pictures here we've got the 14th century castle building, the oldest building on the campus, but don't worry, it's not all oldie worldy. We also have brand new modern buildings as well. In fact, we've got a huge development going underway at the moment for a massive academic building, which will be purely for students. So lots of student space, high-tech equipment, teaching rooms, lecture theatres, a very high standard filming suite. I don't know if many of you have heard of the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. We will have the same technology as they have. So that will all be open in April 2014. So if you're looking to join us in 2014, that will be available to you when you join in September. You can see the big sort of a stately home in that picture as well. That is actually our office, and we are sitting in that building right now. It used to be a stately home. It's had a very, very long history, and we actually now lease it from Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales. So we have to pay him money so that we can run the university on his land.
Basically.
But we are set in very beautiful grounds. You can't see from these pictures, but we are surrounded by fields. So we have many cows and sheep, and it's a working farm as well. So you'll often see the tractor going up and down. Yep. Maybe a couple of sheep escaping with the security guard running after them, and very entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, we're very lucky. We've got all this marvellous space. We've got, in those pictures, the sky is very, very blue, which it has been in the summer, but unfortunately now it's pitch black, so we can't really show you live and direct. Our second campus is called Zion Hill, and it's basically the home of Bath School in Art and Design as well. So all the art and design courses are within this facility, and it's in the it's more close to Bath city centre. Wonderful workshops for art, textiles, fashion, wood, etching. You can look at you can learn traditional techniques as well as modern as well, and it really is an inspirational space. Excuse me.
all the studios that they have there are available to students every single day. So you will have classes, but there will also be times when you'll want to work on your own in the studio space, and everybody is designated that a particular space within the building to work on your projects.
Yeah, which is very unusual for UK universities actually. Okay, our third campus is called Corsham Court, which I was lucky to take some guests around there last week, and we were like, is this really a castle? Is this really a palace? And it is actually a really, really wonderful facility.
Looks a bit like Hogwarts.
It certainly does. And a lot of our graduate education is taught in here as well. We have a very famous creative writing program. We have heritage management, creative practice. So a lot of the creative courses are over there as well. It's a very old house dating back to like the 14th, 15th century. And some of the outbuildings have studios, modern studios for songwriting and music, as well as textiles and weaving, and some filmmaking over there as well.
The owner of the house actually still lives in the building, but he lets a certain wing to Bath University, and one section is actually open to the public as well, for the public to go in and have a look at all the artefacts in the building as well. So
very special place.
Many uses.
Okay, so that's about our campuses. So what can you study at Bath University? So as you guys are all coming up from high school, you'll be thinking about undergraduate education. So we have 3-year honours degrees, as we spoke about earlier. In the UK, it's over 3 years, and that's a Bachelor of Arts honours or a Bachelor of Science honours. One intake, which is September, so you always need to be thinking of applying about a year before as well. We have what's called single honours, and that's when you choose one specialist subject and you focus really on that single subject, taking courses surrounding that subject area. Or you can do something called combined honours, which is where you focus on 2 subject areas. And that's almost like a joint major, or you might major and minor, and that depends on your interests. The US system is obviously very much more broader, but in the UK you tend to specialise from year 1, because you've only got 3 years basically. We have got that you can refer back to our booth sometime tomorrow or perhaps next week. We'll have a little video there. One of our academics, an American guy, Dr. Ballmeyer, he's presented about the differences in the US and UK universities. So it's really worth you checking back and having a little look at that when it's available. Okay, I'm going to run through the schools now, and then we can think about some of the subject areas that you might be interested in. If you want to kind of log in with questions, please do so as we're going along. I just want to highlight some of the key points of our schools. So we have 5 schools altogether. One of the largest ones is called the School of Society, Enterprise and Environment. The subjects that you study within that school would be business and management, very popular one, psychology, sociology, biology, and food and nutrition. Some special things about this school: we have a very high ranking for our business and management subject. We have a 97% student satisfaction rate, which is measured through the National Student Survey. So we know that we're doing something right there. The students are working really, really hard. They gain a lot out of it. They get some fantastic jobs and opportunities afterwards. We're actually ranked for that subject 24th in the UK, which is really, really high for a university of our size. We have a lot of links with industry. A lot of the lecturers, particularly on business management, and many of those other subject areas, are actually leaders in their field in business, and they come and teach that to the students as well. That also gives us really interesting links where our students can go and get industry placements and internships as well. We have some really great expertise in international business, marketing, enterprise, and finance. Also within that school, we have a very strong department of psychology, and one of the only applied neuropsychology MScs in the UK. Okay, humanities and cultural industries.
We have, as Nancy was saying, we have 5 schools, Society, Enterprise and Environment, which Nancy's just talked about. This school, Humanities and Cultural Industries, you will join if you want to study things like English literature, religions and philosophy, creative writing, media, all the sort of digital um, uh, subjects. You will join this particular school. We've got many professionals in this school as well. As we said earlier, Dr. Paul Mayer is actually the subject leader, right? Is he the subject leader? Subject leader for creative writing. So it'd be really good if you do come back and see what he has to say. Yeah, all the subjects for this particular school will be based at Newton Park campus. And again, if you go back through the slides, you'll see the picture of Main House and Castle, just to give you an idea of what the campus is like as well.
Yeah, and one thing that's worth noting about our creative writing programme and that picture there is a lot of novels that have been produced from students and professors on the programme as well. It's really
published authors.
Very much so. So it's a really, really renowned programme. And Milk in the bottom, that's actually the student magazine. We have a publishing degree. I think it's only one in the country. And the students just look at print as well as digital journalism and publishing, as well as novels and poetry. So it's really, really vast. And I think the School of HCI is probably the one that's showing the most creativity and culture and enterprise throughout our university. We also have a festival which is called Creative Futures, and that's where students are showcasing their work, whether it's the musicians, the writers, management professionals, or even the psychologists from all across the university. There's lots of different events going on, and our students get to network with industry professionals, you know, from the local area and from further afield as well. So lots of opportunities come up.
School of Education, we have a number of undergraduate programmes within the School of Education, including international education, education early years, but also you could study education, and that will lead on to then something we call a PGCE, which is a teaching degree. So if you wanted to become a teacher in the UK, you would need to study the PGCE, and one of our programmes sort of feeds through from the education programme. We have an outstanding grade from Ofsted, which is the UK Government's Inspectors for Teacher Training Institutions, and I believe they tend to visit every 4 to 5 years, and we were inspected in 2010 and received an outstanding Ofsted inspection from them. Yeah. As it says here, we're in established excellence in education and teacher training. We are very popular with teacher training applicants. Spaces are very sparse, so we have a lot of applications coming through, and in fact I believe they started last week. Yep. They started their programme a little bit earlier than the undergraduates, and they started last week.
Yeah, very, very strong faculty, very strong faculty. Okay, so moving on, our fourth school is actually Bath School of Art and Design. Really, the history of our university, like Bath School of Art at the time was one of our kind of founding colleges, as it were, back in 1852. And that school sort of came out when Britain was at the forefront of design. It was the Great Exhibition, and a lot of art schools were developed to really, really showcase the British way of design as well. So since then, that school has grown from strength to strength, fantastic alumni, fantastic professors there. Subject areas of fine art, sculpture, ceramics, textiles, fashion, which is very strong, very, very selective programme, graphics, photography, illustration, product design through a programme called Idea, Material and Object as well. We saw earlier the Zion Hill, which is the campus where Bath School of Art and Design is based. It really is a wonderful, wonderful space. The fact that all students get their dedicated studio space is a really, really important thing to help you develop. We try to encourage students, whether they're on a fine art programme or if they're on a photography programme, program to work across the disciplines as well. So you can use all the workshops there. There's technicians there who know everything like the back of their hand, and are always very popular with the students. The students and graduates win a number of prizes out of there as well. We work with local museums and galleries, as well as museums and galleries up in London as well.
It was just last year that one of our students, every year they have a graduate fashion show, and you can see in this picture here, one of our students actually won that. So out of all the graduates who applied through this fashion show, one of our students won last year. And another one of our students, Stephanie Kitchen, she won this year. So we've had two winners in the last couple of years who have been very, very successful.
Yeah, very prestigious prize that as well.
Some other designers who have won this award, I believe you probably know Stella McCartney. She's won this award, so as we say, very prestigious indeed.
Very prestigious. So an excellent programme, excellent programme. And then the final school.
Music and performing arts. So we have various different subjects within this school, which includes music, dance, drama, performance, theatre. We even have an MA in performing Shakespeare, if that interests any of you. Certainly a lot of options within the school. We have a large auditorium on site where we have performances throughout the year from our Bath Spa Orchestra, and we also perform in the city as well. So we have a very prestigious location in the assembly rooms in Bath, and there's usually an event at the end of the academic year where all the students come together and perform as part of the Bath Spa Orchestra. So there are plenty of opportunities for performance within the school as well. We have a brand new theatre building which was opened a few years ago now. I think that was back in 2010, 2009, 2010, with studio spaces. We have suspended floors as well, so for the dance students, but lots of spaces for rehearsals and performance as well. We have a theatre for theatre productions.
Yeah, excellent. And I think that something that comes through with all our programs really is the link that is very, very practice based as well. So the actors are always out, you know, performing, acting, the musicians are always out. We have almost like a company within Bath Spa as well called Bath Spa Live, and a lot of the students are organising that and working with local industry and local performance spaces, and really, really getting the most out of their degree.
While we have a lot of staff who work at Bath Spa who are professionals themselves, you won't only just be taught by them, we will also bring in people from the industry who will also present lectures and seminars to you as well.
Excellent. So lots of choice then across our 5 schools. Always question that always comes up is, beg your pardon, we just have a bit of a technical problem there. Go like that. Is entry requirements. Now, the US system and the British system do differ slightly. In our high school system, we tend to do A-levels, advanced levels, or sometimes like an IB diploma. If you studied under the British system, for entry into our programs, you tend to need 3 A-levels at grade BBC up to ABB. Or an IB diploma, I believe the points are around 28 points. And then we know that some of our students that come from America have done those systems as well. In the US system, it's slightly different. You need to have a high school diploma, and then you need either 3 advanced placement tests with a score of 3 or more, or alternatively, a high school diploma and SATs. And we tend to look at the 3 main SATs for a score of 600, critical reading, writing and maths as well. The other thing to be aware of is that some subjects may have specific requirements. So for example, if you want to come and do art or photography, you need to have an art-based background. And in that case, we would review a portfolio with your application, and we would tend to ask for an online interview as well. So depending on your course of interest, there may be like a subject specific as well.
You might be asked, for example, with some of the music and performing arts courses, you might be asked to do some auditions, but obviously being in a different country, that might be a little bit tricky. So we will ask you to submit a couple of videos, which we will consider your audition. But obviously once you go through the application process, you'll be advised of what you need to do.
Fantastic. So they're your general entry requirements. Another key question that comes up that you must be thinking of is regarding finances. So education is not cheap, unfortunately, but as a UK government university, we are actually I think we're a pretty keen price really, and you might want to compare it to US institutions as well. There's three things that you need to think about. The first one is tuition fees. Tuition comes in at about $1,700 a year. Now, do remember that if you're doing a UK degree, it's 3 years less rather than 4 years. So you have got an option there. So that's the first thing you need to consider is tuition. The second thing you need to consider is living costs. That's your day-to-day food, accommodation, books, clothes, you know, all your everyday costs really. And we tend to average out about £800 per month. Now that does depend on students. Some people are big spenders, some people maybe less. But that's what you need to think about really, which about £800 a month, $15,000 across all. Then the other thing that students always ask is about scholarships and financial aid. The university itself doesn't have any particular full scholarships. You are able to get what's called an early payment discount if you pay all your tuition fees in full. But the other great thing is that you can use US financial aid or private loans to study at Bath Spa. We are an accredited university and we do have our FAFSA number. So financial aid is something that is available to you even to go and use overseas as well. We have a financial aid officer here who can help you through that application process as well. Okay, so that's the fees. And then, okay, so you know what you want to study, you love the university, you love the city, you can get the money together. How do you actually physically apply? Okay, there's two ways that you could apply to undergraduate education. The first thing is the UCAS system. Now, this is if you're applying to up to 5 universities in the UK at once. And your school counsellor may be able to support you through this process. It's an online application and then a fee applies. There are particular deadlines, so you need to look at the UCAS website to have a look at that. An alternative is that if you only want to apply to Bath Spa, we can accept a direct application for you. Your application comes straight to us. There's no application fee, and you'll be supported through us in the international office and your school counsellor all through the process. We tend to keep the process as quick and straightforward as possible because we know these are quite nervous times, really. But we have very success. We have a number of US students here. They all enjoy themselves, and the feedback we get is, you know, from the beginning, they're supported all the way. Okay, and finally, if you are interested in further information, there's lots of ways that you can get in touch with us and engage with us. You can go onto our website, which is www.bathspa.ac.uk. Check the course pages there for the details of the programs. We also have an international section, which is especially for overseas students. We have a university Facebook site and our international relations Facebook page as well. And you can follow us on Twitter. Or we'd be very happy if you book us an online appointment. We'd be very happy to talk to you on an individual basis, go through your aspirations and see how we can support you to study overseas.
And if you email us, it will also come through to either of us.
Yeah. So we'd be very happy to help you. Okay, thanks for listening. Any questions, please come to see us in the booth. We're going to be around for a while longer, or get in touch with us through those methods there. So thanks for listening.